Look at that. It's Excel. It's Google Sheets. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Alright, so yeah, pathetic. I appreciate you stopping by. So, we're gonna do a thing. We. Alright. We're gonna talk about this. Are you guys ready? Are you ready for some Excel? I took a step up from MS Paint from the last concept stream that I did. Right. So, if any of you guys want to make a video on this, by all means, because I sure know I don't have the time to make one. All right. So, this might be a little difficult to understand. um. So, the idea. If you're gonna have different Call of Duty maps and you want it to be a little bit more dynamic than just like, oh, every map is the same and it's always sunny or always clear weather, you can have day time of day variants of the map, and you can have weather effect variants of the map. So this is actually something that I talked about on one of Ian's streams before I went on my trip. So basically, you have two different modifiers, like for your map, whenever you load in, and you have a sort of random chance at getting the modifiers. So my sort of thought process is the less competitive the map is, in terms of its conditions, the more XP you get, the higher XP multipliers you get for that match. It's to sort of incentivize people to stick around. And then the more competitive the conditions are, sure, you're going to get a smaller XP bonus, but the competitive nature, at least in my opinion, would be enough to keep people in the matches. So basically my concept, like obviously this can be super expanded upon. You have a time of day, it's 4 times of day that you can choose from, and they have an equal chance of occurring, so 25% chance across. So you have dawn. Whoops, hold on. I actually closed that. I shouldn't click. You have dawn. You have midday or noon. You have evening, and then you have midnight. So so dawn would be sort of like what's it called? That Call of Duty Ghost map with the little like trolley thing. That would be like a dawn map. Like you have like the sun at like a weird angle. If you look a certain way, then like it's kind of hard to see, but for the most part, it's pretty visible. So you get like a very small multiplier there for your to your XP. Then you have midday, which is the vast majority of the Call of Duty maps. Most of them are set like at like sort of noonish time. Like it's very clear out. You're able to see perfectly fine. So that doesn't get any XP multiplier because it's the most competitively viable time of day. Then you have evening, which I would say maps like Piccadilly or whatever is. So that would be evening, where like it's still it's dark, but it's still visible, so you can still see. And then there's midnight, which are like the night mode maps in Modern Warfare. Right, so those are like the 4 different times of day. And then, so just based on that, you would already have 4 variations of each map. So we'll get to this little part in a little bit. So on top of this, if we want to have the weather effects, so you have the time of day, and then you have the weather effects that you can choose from. So there's no weather effect, which is just standard. That's whatever. It's the typical Call of Duty map. There's rain, so sort of like normal rain, where like it's sometimes kind of hard to see during the rain. You have regular snow, where it's kind of hard to see during the snow, and sort of normal fog. So those get you a 1.25 times multiplier, or basically a 25% XP boost. So it's basically how you would calculate the amount of double XP or extra XP you get is by adding is by doing like the math here. So like let's say you have a midnight foggy map, that would be a 75% increase. So not quite double XP, but pretty close. Right, so that would be like, yeah, it's basically, oh, so you add that together, 1.75 times XP. Right, so like I think that would be a decent incentive for people to stay. Right, because like yeah, like it might be hard to see. It might the match might go for a while, because it's gonna be harder to find people, whatever. But the thing is, at least you get extra XP as sort of like a consolation prize for sticking out the match. Um, so this is like the basic weather. So if we were to have like time of day plus the basic weather effects, um, that would be 16 map variants for a single map. So we're only talking like one map, let's say. So imagine like Piccadilly, for example, like because that's like the one that I don't know just pops into my head. So you have Piccadilly with the four time of day variants on top of the four basic weather effects. You have 16 versions of Piccadilly. Right, that's pretty crazy. So now, if you want to get a little bit more complicated, you can have sort of light versions of each weather effect. So basically, like light rain, or like sort of like a little like drizzle of rain, where like the visibility is better. Same thing with the snow. Same thing with the fog. Since it's easier to see, if I understand you, you get more XP depending on how balanced the map is. Not necessarily how balanced, but how competitive the map is. So basically, like the most competitive version of the map would be midday or noon with no weather effects. So basically, where the visibility is the clearest, and then the least competitive would be with these on the bottom at midnight, because it's very hard to see, and like most people would. So my thought process for creating this was thinking about one of like the very few things that Black Ops 4 actually did do right. The map variants with the weather effects. So there was that one map, I think it was called Arsenal Sandstorm, where it was, in terms of layout, it was the exact same as the regular Arsenal map, but it was the visibility was just garbage because of the sandstorm. But I actually really liked how, with the super bad sandstorm, like it completely changed how that map played. So like I think stuff like that would really benefit like COD in general. It's like certain weather effects like the rain or like snow, whatever, like it wouldn't really change how you play. Like the heavier effects would act like can actually drastically alter how a map flows and how it plays. Because most people on that map would go to that one super long lane that people used for sniping and fight there. But on the Sandstorm version, people actually went more towards the middle of the map, and a lot of the fighting happened inside, where the visibility was actually a little bit better. So that was actually very interesting, and I liked how that like how that worked. That's right. With the light weather effects, it's just basically less extreme versions of the basic weather. So if you have the four weather effects plus the basic weather and light weather, that's 28 versions of a single map. Yeah, and the flooded map. Yeah, because there was Contraband Hurricane, there was Hacienda Evening, or Twilight, whatever it was called. There was Firing Range Night, Jungle Flooded, and then Arsenal Sandstorm. I think those were the only ones. I could be wrong. But another one of the issues that that introduced those maps had. That sentence made no sense. Another issue that adding those maps introduced was they technically counted as separate maps. So when you did have the map voting, you could have really no choice. It's like, all right, your choices are either regular jungle or jungle flooded. You're going to be playing jungle regardless. So that was a partial problem of introducing those maps like that. Instead of having it be like a sort of coin flip, like, oh, you're gonna get jungle, like which version of jungle are you gonna get? Like I think that would have been a little bit more exciting. Um, Hacienda Twilight actually opened up an extra path, which was kind of cool. Yeah, you can also have stuff like that. Um, so anyway, uh, so you have the basic weather, you have the light weather. Then you also have the extreme weather effects. So you can have like a hurricane or storm, a blizzard, sandstorm, a heavy fog or like smog if you're in like a super like urban area, and then like high winds, and and on top of this, like if you really wanted to, you can add you can also add like map specific weather effects. So like for example, let's say you have it's like a sandstorm. Uh, Again, let's use Piccadilly as the example. You're not going to have a sandstorm in Piccadilly, so you don't even have to include this weather effect. Like let's say you have a map in like Egypt, or like let's say you get let's pick a desert map. Shoot, what was the map from Cold War? With the sand dunes. Is it just called like dunes? I think that's what it's called. Oh no, it's satellite. Satellite. So let's say you take satellite from Cold War. That map would be. It would make a lot of sense to have a sandstorm there. So you can also implement this in a way where you can create like a sort of percentage chance of each weather effect happening, based on the map's location. So you probably wouldn't have a hurricane in the middle of a desert. So the hurricane or storm version would have a 0% chance of occurring on that map. But let's say but you have like a 2% chance of getting a sandstorm. So like let's say you get like a midnight sandstorm. That's very unlikely to happen. So when it does happen, you get the bonus XP and plus is like, oh wow, I've never seen this map combination before. This is cool. Like I think that would kind of add to the appeal of like people actually like sticking around on a map when they get very improbable map conditions, because it's actually kind of like special. Like, oh wow, I got the super rare version of the map. It's like, oh wow, I got the midnight blizzard version of this map that has like probability wise like a 1% chance of ever occurring. Like wow, plus the bonus XP. That's awesome. Because when you add the midnight effect to these extreme weather effects, like if it was actually implemented this way, that would basically be the equivalent of double XP. Pick a map that isn't hated by most of the fan base. Okay, okay, you give me a map then. You give me a map. Yeah. So, not a lot of people like satellite. Well, I was using it as an example for a desert map where it would make sense. Communist map, Moscow. All right, so I'll do that in a second. But yeah, so for a single map, if you were to have all these conditions like available, there would be 48 different versions of that one single map, which is insane. And then let's say you have a Call of Duty with a sort of conservative number of maps. So let's say a COD releases with 12 maps. You add all these different variables to it, you basically have 576 different maps. And things like obviously like a lot of these weather conditions won't really make sense or apply to some of the maps, so you can cross off some of those, but it's still a lot. You have hundreds of different maps, basically. We could use communist map as an example. So we take we'll do Newtown in a second. So let's take Moscow from Cold War, right? You're obviously gonna have time of day. Like this is gonna so in my theoretical concept, the time of day is going to be there regardless, obviously, and then you have a 25% chance at either one of these, right? So because that makes sense. So what we could do is if we want to do like percentages. No, let's not do that. I accidentally almost ended the stream. I pressed the wrong button. Okay, so if we wanted to, we can basically say like, okay, 30% of the time, you're gonna get no effect on the map. So you're gonna get one of these bonuses, right? So rain. I'm sure it rains kind of often in Moscow. I don't know. Let's give that maybe like a 5% chance, and then you just sort of like play around with it. I'm gonna make this not full. Let's make it half screen. Hold on. That doesn't look good. Make this a little bigger. All right, I'm doing this just for me, so I can actually see the chat still while I'm working on this. It looks ugly, I know. All right, so obviously we want it to add up eventually to 100%. So let's say we have a 10% chance of snow. No, actually, let's go 5 for this also, and then we'll skip fog for now. Do light rain, 10%, 10%. All right, and then what we could do over here is equals sum of these. What? Oh, hold on, wait. You're right, I did it wrong. Okay. Okay, 60%. Okay. Excel magic. All right, so we can do that. Hurricane or storm. It's gonna be a very low chance. Let's say like 2%. No, we could be generous. We could make that 20. We could make snow 10. Or no, not 1. 10%. We can make a blizzard 5%. Oops, 5%. Sandstorm, that would be a 0% chance. Heavy fog, maybe like 1%. You can like play around with it, like heavy winds and like debris. Let's go 1% there. Fog. Like you see what I'm getting at. You can play around with the percentages. It's like, let's say you get midnight high winds or or whatever. Like, you might actually be kind of excited to see that because it's the so basically you can do like the math here. You can do like 0.25 and then basically oh 01 and then multiply those together. Multiply and then multiply those together. What? Uh-oh, it's angry. Whatever that is, multiply together. Hold on. 0.25 times 0.11 times 100. Okay, so basically the chance of you getting midnight high winds is 0.25% chance of happening. So basically 1 in 400 chance. So like if you get flooded shipment, why not? It's like it'll be really stupid, but you get double XP. It's like you can survive one match that has like a near 0% chance of occurring. Like you can make a video on it. You can get a whole bunch of views because no one's ever gonna see it ever. It's like why not? You can delete a shipment. Yeah, that works too. It's just like just ultra extreme weather effects. Delete the map. You have the void. But no, so like with this system, like obviously like you'd have to like tune the the percentages, like let's say, it's like let's make this like 35%, 35. So that's getting us closer. We can do light 5, maybe like 5%. Okay, and then we have regular fog here. Let's go 2. And then you can like adjust. So let's say, so it's Moscow. It's in Russia. It's gonna be snowy. Let's do that, right? So you have like a 14% chance of snow or something or something ridiculous like that. And like, I don't know. Like, I want to know your guys' opinion on something like this. Like, do you think something like this could work? Like obviously it would be super difficult to implement, but yeah, like, especially for these like extreme weather effects, like you wouldn't really have all these effects really, because like let's go 0 for that one, and then cause, like you're not gonna. It doesn't make sense to have every single extreme weather effect for a map, right? Because a lot of these are going to be like map specific, or like it's sort of like dependent on like where the map is. So like, even some of these like basic weather effects, like it wouldn't make sense if they occurred in some areas. So like you can have some of these percentages be like really really small, and have some maps just where the no effect thing is super high, like much higher. So the thing is, like 35% seems high, but the thing is, all the rest of this is 65%, right? So 65% of the time, you're going to be getting some sort of bonus XP, right? And plus, on top of the 75% chance of getting a non-midday version of a map, right? So the vast majority of the time, you're going to be getting some bonus XP. So like, what is it, like every once in a while when you get a map that has perfect competitive conditions, like, and you're not getting bonus XP, like you're not really going to care, because like what, that's going to be one match out of like who knows how many. Because like I think just like the competitive nature of those maps in perfect conditions would be enough to keep people around and not just back out of the lobby, even though they're getting less XP bonuses. Right, because that's sort of like my thought process with this. It's an interesting idea. Thank you. It's like I actually like spent some time to like actually like think it out a little bit, because like I remember that like I talked about it on Ian's stream a while ago. So I rewatched that little part of it, and then jotted down a little bit more of my ideas.